Last week, Rob Portman of Ohio made political headlines when he had acknowledged that he had changed his position on marriage equality. The experience of his son coming out and had challenged him to rethink his position and now switch sides. Hillary Clinton has recently acknowledged her full support for marriage equality. And over this past weekend, an evangelical pastor named Rob Bell also did so. He was speaking at Grace Cathedral in San Francisco and was asked the question about marriage equality and gave a clear, supportive answer. Already, evangelical bloggers and writers and radio people have been condemning Rob for taking this stand and using the L word, liberal, as a way of distancing him and in some ways withdrawing his evangelical credentials. I also come from an evangelical background. For 24 years, I also was a pastor, and I'm deeply sensitive and empathetic with Rob Bell, who's a good friend of mine, in his decision at this time to come out and affirm marriage equality. When I was a pastor, I had two contrary experiences. On the one hand, I had many people, including close family members, who were coming out to me, and it was very clear to me that the traditional explanations for homosexuality were inaccurate and unfair. At the same time, I had many members of my congregation, sincere, wonderful, good-hearted people who felt, for reasons of biblical interpretation and tradition, that it was absolutely unacceptable to change one's position on this issue. It's not easy as a pastor to balance those competing claims, but eventually I think more and more pastors, because of their contact with gay people in the honesty of a pastoral setting, more and more pastors are going to do what Rob has done, what I've done. And I think this is further evidence that we are reaching a tipping point in our culture where marriage equality will be seen in much the same way as the struggle for women's equality and for civil rights now are seen as we look back in our history. It takes courage to make these kinds of statements when you're an author and speaker, as Rob and I are, but it's especially painful for pastors and priests to work this out in the midst of pastoral ministry. I hope that people on all sides of this issue will respect one another's honesty, whether it's the honesty of holding their position or the honesty of changing it. And I commend Rob for his recent decision.